rated T to M. Hey, want to hear a PC Game Pass ad? I'll take your silence as a yes. Want new games on day one like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 or Stalker 2? I thought so. How about unlocking all the League of Legends champions when you link your Riot Games account? All for one low monthly price? Well, guess what? We got you. Learn more at xbox.com/PC Game Pass or click the banner. Stalker 2 available November 20th, 2024. Game catalog varies by region and over time. And that's the end of the script.
What is Cafe Mocha? Cafe Mocha is experts, celebrities.
What's up? This is Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yours truly, Idris Elba.
This is Fantasia.
This is In Vogue.
This is India Ari.
So much more. All from a woman's perspective.
What flavor are you, baby?
This is Cafe Mocha.
This is Cafe Mocha with Emmy Award-winning talk show host Loni Love, hip-hop legend Yo-Yo, and I'm the producer, Angelique. It's been exactly a month since the election. Now that we've had some time to process, social activist Tamika Mallory joins us to talk about what's next. One thing that we haven't done, we've had a little bit of time now, about a month, to reflect on this election situation. How's everybody feeling? I mean, I already know the answer to that.
Now that I see what's happening as far as cabinet picks and things like that, it's like we told y'all. It's utterly ridiculous. And I think at first it was this sense of disappointment. And then for me, it was disappointment. It was anger, because you have to realize I went knocking door to door to door. I was posting, I was vocal, I was amplifying. We asked people to get out the vote. We asked people to listen to the rallies, and still at the end of the day, it just felt like a slap in the face that people are only looking at, they're looking at their pocketbooks. We're worried about the price of eggs.
Wait. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but travel was off the hook last weekend. So people were on them planes as far as Black Friday, Cyber Monday, through the roof, record-breaking numbers. So you can't sit up there and tell me you worried about the price of eggs when you out there buying some more. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. So it's coming down to the fact that, when I was going door to door, Yo-Yo, a lot of people were saying they didn't like either candidate.
Yeah.
But most of them did not like her. And no matter what we tried to do, we encouraged, we moved. She still got a lot of votes, but it was just so disheartening for it not to come from people who are marginalized, Latino men, Latino women, white women, who are marginalized. That was the disappointment for me, because it's like you don't see that what you're voting for is really going to hurt you in the end. And only 92% of Black women voted for Kamala Harris. 92%. And it's like Black women we're just tired. We're tired of trying to tell everybody everything. And we're tired of telling people we told you so. We're tired of, and then everybody wants to sit here and, now he's picking these, underqualified conspiracy theorist people. It's amazing. And it's like, we told you so. We told you so. So, Yo, I'm going to let you come in because I want to know, how did you feel?
I, of course, devastated. It was my youngest daughter's first time voting. I understood because, of course, me being in the public's eye, people felt as if they wanted to tell me all of their situations and their reasoning for not wanting to vote for Harris. And I listened with open ears. I just, for me, because of my religion, politics, and because of how I grew up, politics really never played a big role in my home. My mom really didn't care about voting, although she always voted. We just knew how to survive on any level. This historical moment mattered because of the candidate that Harris was facing. We understood who he is and what he's all about. So it just made it feel like we just, a lot of people were feeling hopeless. We were asking these young college kids and first time voters to come out and vote. So it just felt like a slap in the face where you could have this felon run for president of the United States and get elected. So there was a lot. I mean, and on the other end of that stick, my stocks went up. I was just like, I opened my apps and everything just shot up, and he's not even in office yet.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is that everybody is talking about economy, and it's more than about economy. It's about morality. It's about being presidential. It's about respecting each other.
Well,
And
it's sorry to cut you off. This is
go
what
ahead.
America has become. We just came from Japan for Sanai's 21st birthday. I mean, and you watch the news over there and we look like idiots. It looks like as if America doesn't know what it's doing, and it doesn't. And it's clear to see that, America's really just the land of shambles, and it is, a get in where you fit in state.
Well, also, it's a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of organization, and it's also a little bit of being spoiled. A lot of the young people were spoiled because they had a black president. They didn't see what the civil rights activists had to go through. They didn't have to live through Jim Crow, which is the reason why we stress that it should be taught. When people say, "Oh, we shouldn't teach Black history. We don't want to make our kids feel bad," all of that. No, you're teaching it so that you don't go back to those times that were just horrible times. So I mean, we have to push. And now it's like he has nominated the WWE CEO for the Department of Education. She has not been a teacher.
Let's get
Hasn't
ready
taught
to
nothing.
rumble.
I mean, and there are rumors that he's going to dismantle the Department of Education. There are, RFK Jr., Health and Human Services. He's the head of that, and it is just the fact of
Who's the guy that's had to step down that was
Oh yeah, Matt Gates.
Yeah, Matt
The
Gates.
I'm not gonna call him a pedophile or sex trafficker.
For
But
Attorney General. He was going to be the
that
top.
only makes sense. That only makes sense.
I mean, it's like you look at all of his, they have to be confirmed, first of all.
Yeah.
There's still some hope that, we could win the House. There's still some counts. There are a couple of seats in Florida that are empty. So, we still may be able to get the House. And if we do, then we get Hakeem Jeffries as the majority leader, which he would be the first Black majority leader ever. So there is still some hope, but there's
Ain't
so
no
much
hope.
disappointment.
Just be quiet. Ain't no hope. We ain't winning the House. Up next, women's right advocate Tamika Mallory has some thoughts for all the Black women who are ready to give up after this last election. That's next on Cafe Mocha.
Standing in solidarity from a woman's perspective. It's Cafe Mocha.
It's radio from a woman's perspective, Cafe Mocha. Joining us now is the brains behind the 2017 Women's March on Washington. It's believed to be one of the biggest marches ever. She's also co-founder of Until Freedom, which fights for justice reform, gun protection, and social rights. Activist Tamika Mallory's on the line.
I mean, whenever we call Sister Tamika, she comes through. But we really needed to talk to you because of, what's happening now with the election results. And we just wanted to get your thoughts and your feelings because we really hadn't on this show processed it. And so we wanted to call you and talk to you about that. So what are your thoughts about the election results?
Well, it's funny. I'm actually today, excuse me, I'm in Naples, Florida, sitting on a beach. I'm at a resort where a retreat is happening with a lot of Black women who are organizers, people who worked really hard during this election, but they work hard throughout the year on organizing, particularly Black folks and Black women. And I was invited to participate in a retreat to talk about what went wrong, where we stand, and where we're going. And so this conversation is very, very timely as I think about, as one of the people who will be presenting, just thinking about what I can add and offer for this moment that we're in. And, one of the things I will say to you is that it was always our intention at Until Freedom, my organization, and many of the organizers that I work with, people who don't even make it into the spaces that I'm in today. They don't necessarily make it to conversations like the one that we are having. They are often unseen. These are people who don't necessarily enjoy the benefits, and many of them don't want the benefits of a mainstream profile or being out there recognized as being some leader. They really are generals, and they work in their communities, and they do it because they have a passion for the people. They have a passion for service, and they, want to see and understand the issues that impact vulnerable communities. And when I sit back and I think about that, and people say, well, where do we stand after the election? In a lot of ways, those folks, sort of the unheard and the grassroots organizing base, and in many ways, they are what is considered to be below the root. They always were going to fight. So were we. And Until Freedom, Kamala Harris being elected did not mean the end of our work, or that there would be some prolonged celebratory effort. In fact, my organization, and specifically Linda Sarsour, our Palestinian Muslim sister, who is one of the 4 co-founders of Until Freedom, holds the permits for a number of locations during inauguration week of whoever the president would have been. So if, in fact, Kamala Harris would have been elected, we still hold the permits for other locations around the inauguration so that we could hold a protest even to her. And so in many ways, for us, things don't change much, except that how we protest, how we create dissent, and how we express our outrage and bring awareness to our issues has to be done in a much more strategic way. We're dealing with an administration that will take power and they control all branches of government that is very vindictive. They are still probably angry with us since the Women's March of 2017. So
Right.
we got stuff that we're dealing with, and it's different for a lot of us. There's a lot of people talking about what we're going to do, and I hope that people respect and understand that there are some of us that have been in the eye of the tiger or the mouth of the lion for a long time. They've been looking for a way to get back at us for embarrassing them, having more people at our march on the day after the inauguration than actually attended the inauguration for Donald Trump. And so there's a lot of that, and we have to figure out how we're going to proceed. But it does not mean that we stop. We had no intention of going home. We had every intention of continuing to speak out and making sure that our voices are heard in this administration, the Harris administration, because the issues that our people face are not, they're not classified to a party, to one group, to one time period. They stretch beyond that because, unfortunately, the same type of people that you have in the Trump administration, some of them exist and they have power even within the Democratic Party.
Cafe Mocha, we're on the line with social justice activist Tamika Mallory. I want to ask you specifically about this beautiful artwork that was released since the election. It's by Nikki Free, and it shows some beautiful Black women sitting on top of a building, drinking their coffee, watching the world beneath them, the United States, burn to the ground. Um, Suggesting that we're ready to step back from all this political madness, suggesting that we're going to take our power from the political sphere and invest it into ourselves and our families. Um, is this a movement, do you think, or is this just a moment of we're angry right now?
I think it's both and. I think that there are some people who genuinely are tired. In fact, as I mentioned, I'm here in this beautiful place today, and there are many Black women who are showing up at this conference in a safe space to talk about where we go from here. And I've already been encountered just during lunchtime. Wasn't even a conference time. It's just, this is arrival day, so just lunch. And I encountered a number of women who said, I'm tired. Like, I've done all that I can do. I've been in all the spaces. I donated the money. I did everything possible, not about an election, but consistently to ensure that we have equity, that our people have a voice, that our place and time and history would not be erased. And that the work that our ancestors have done and passed down to so many of us who have continued that work would not be in vain. And now, with the results of this election, that some people don't even believe, but that's a whole different day's time. You got to invite me back on that. The results of this let me know that it's my time to step back and take care of myself, take care of my family. And guess what? That's not a bad thing. Because most of our families, if you are anything like me, where you're really on the front line and you're really working hard, even if you're partially on the front line, there's a whole lot of stuff that gets sacrificed in your day-to-day life. You know, you don't get to vacation as you would like, or make the decision that you would just, if you are, if you're in a diversity and equity position in a corporation, you might decide you want to do a whole different thing, or you just want to leave. You're just tired. You can't really walk out because you're constantly thinking, if I leave, what will happen to these programs that I created? I already know said corporation doesn't really believe in what they say they believe in, and I got to stay here to continue to be the voice. I have to continue to sacrifice my actual body, my reputation. People saying that I'm angry Black woman, or I'm too caught up in Black stuff, or whatever the area may be, and it's painful. It's not easy. And so after you've done all you can do, you can really literally take that picture and say, you know what, to hell with it, burn the whole shit down. Y'all do what y'all gonna do. I'm done, and I'm going home. And so I believe that emotion is real, and I understand people who feel that way, because I felt that way for a couple of days, that I'm just tired. And some days I still feel that way. Even today, I'm just like, this holiday, don't ask me. Don't ask me what to do, how to do it. Unless you Black, especially, Black people in general, Black men, Black women, you can ask me, because we can talk. But I don't care nothing about talking to other communities about what we're going to do, because Black women have shown, and we've set the example. We have made it clear that step one towards everything we need is to block this man from becoming president, right? Mm-hmm. And so we've done our part. However, to speak to your real question, I don't believe that posture will last us but so long. And I'll tell you why. Because I think that understanding who Black people are, and knowing that no matter what happens to anyone else, we will always have a residual impact hit our communities. So you could be sitting here now saying, I don't care about deportation. The Latino community voted in his favor. Some of them, Latino women, voting more than half for Kamala Harris, but others didn't. The men specifically, overwhelmingly for Trump. and less than half, but almost half of the women, well, I won't even say less, almost, but there was a significant portion of women who also supported Trump. Well, if you don't care about immigration, understanding that people who look more like you are impacted, which is not 100% true, because we have the African community and the Haitian community who are people who look like us. But nonetheless, we know that Latino population or the Mexican population will be targeted, significantly. And so I hear people saying, if they didn't care, why should we care? The problem is that whenever you have this authoritarian behavior where politicians and different agencies of the government are allowed free rein to investigate and criminalize people in a community, it never ends. It's never precise. Yep. Not that we want it to be precise. I'm not suggesting that I don't want it to happen at all. And unfortunately, for some people who would love to hear me say, oh, I ain't going to be out there, I don't care, I ain't doing nothing, that's not really who I am. As an organizer, I understand the intersectionality of deportation turns into more horrific policing of Black communities, right? I understand that continued killing of the Palestinian people makes the colonialism and the efforts of those who like to steal land, who like to displace people, it makes their work easier when they feel they can get away with it with one particular group of people. So I see the intersections, and I understand that there's no way we can all be quiet, because when we're quiet, the problem only spreads. And so when ICE, which is the agency that will be going into communities dealing with deportation, when they show up on 116th Street between Lenox and 8th Avenue in Manhattan, and they are looking to deport Africans, and you as a Black person, American Black person who lives there, now feels that you have to carry your passport, and people are stopping you in the street asking you to prove your ethnicity and your roots to America and your citizenship, you will, in fact, become infuriated. And so you can say, I ain't going to deal with that, until your son, who's just as Black as the African, who has become Americanized, who dresses the same way, who looks the same way, and y'all are playing basketball, your son is playing basketball, and now all of them have they're up against a wall with their hands up, they're being stopped and frisked, they're being mistreated, and maybe your son didn't have his passport, and so now you got to go down to whatever jail, the federal jail or wherever, to get him out. You feel, how could this happen? He had the audacity to talk back, which means they punched him in the face, they choked him, they mistreated him, and now you sitting there saying, how the hell did this happen? Well, we don't get to sit by while the country burns down. We just don't. I just want to say, for those people who are listening, that I feel you, because I'm going to sit back for a while. I'm not going to put myself as a person who's been highly targeted. I've been on the Black Identity Extremity list, which is a list that was created by William Barr, who was Donald Trump's attorney general when he was president before. These are people who have been identified as Black extremists, right? I've been on that list. I understand what it is to be targeted. I've had people follow me. I've had helicopters over my home. I've had all letters coming to my house showing my son's father in a body bag. I have been through all the things. I know what the targeting looks like. And trust and believe, I'm smart enough to know that I cannot walk outside on January 21st, 22nd, 23rd, the same as I did in a previous time. I know that. I know there has to be changes to how I do what I do, but I'm never going to sit home and be quiet. And so I am not blaming Black women who are tired, frustrated. We did all we could do. We knew where we were going. We understand what's about to happen. I get it. But I'm just telling you that when my son is pulled over, who's with his African or his Arab or whomever, his Latino friend, and they are targeted just because racial profiling will be a thing, and they're not gonna be precise. So to get that out your mind, they're not gonna be precise as they begin to target communities. I know that it will make me more than ever ready to fight back. And so I love the video and the pictures because I love that Black women feel like we can relate to something. That art is speaking to my soul, that I don't have to keep on being a sacrificial lamb for a country that doesn't love or respect me. And I get it. But in practicality, I know that there are many of us who will try our best, but we will have no choice but to stand up for our rights because these people are diabolical, and they will ensure they're not going to sit by and let Black people be comfortable. That's not going to happen.
Nope.
We're talking to social activist Tamika Mallory, and we're not done. Cafe Mocha.
We're at Cafe Mocha Radio. Socially savvy on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Serving up more Cafe Mocha on the way.
What up, music lovers? It's Claude Kelly.
What's up? It's Chuck Harmony.
And besides being two of the co-hosts of We Sound Crazy, we are also
Louis York, your favorite two-man band.
And the exciting news is we have a new album
streaming on all platforms. It's called Songs with Friends, and it features some of the best voices in the business.
Oh yes, I'm talking about Tamia,
Jessie J,
Layla Hathaway,
PJ Morton,
Gramps Morgan,
The Shandellas,
and so many more. Check out
Songs with Friends.
Standing in solidarity from a woman's perspective. It's Cafe Mocha.
Cafe Mocha's radio from a woman's perspective. Men can play too. We're talking about the election with activist Tamika Mallory. So, I mean, what's next? What now?
Tamika, it's like right now for our listeners, because like you said, you do this, you are targeted, but for that average person, is there anything that they could do right now or after election day? You say rest.
Rest. If you were Black and you a Black woman, even if, because I'm not like a holiday person, because I understand the propaganda. And you know, like I was telling somebody, I wrote it on Instagram. I don't do Black Friday. I've been stopped supporting Black Friday because I know that it's the final closeout for corporations that are already way too invested in capitalism. And therefore, I won't spend my money on Black Friday. Like, I'd rather spend my money on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday before Black Friday because I know that it's a gimmick. And a lot of people go out and spend their money on sales that it was marked up last week and marked down this week. And, you know, they have their ways that they do what they do. And be honest with you, this particular holiday, they didn't really do no sales. Some places did, but not many.
No.
Although if a girlfriend of mine was listening right now, she'd be like, girl, we went to the mall and got you 2 dresses, whole gowns for less than $200. Cut it. You know, but anyway. anyway, so I don't really, that's not my thing. I've been boycotting brands, holidays, all of that. But I needed some tights, you know, because tights are in. And I was trying to get dressed in something. I have a drawer that has all the stockings and this and that, and the tights that I wanted to wear, they had a little run in it. So I was like, damn, you know, I need some tights. I said, oh, it's Black Friday weekend. Let me go. This is a perfect time to get a $75 pair of tights for $40. Makes sense to me. I said, let me go look. And I couldn't find any. But nonetheless, this would have been the first time that I would have been like, let me go buy me something for me. And I would not have been in my usual posture of, I wouldn't buy from y'all. I ain't gonna do nothing. I don't support this, that, and the third. But I don't even have that energy right now. I do not have it, you know? And I feel kind of like other people who might be feeling like me, it's okay. It's okay. Like, let us be in a space where we just, for once, we don't got to be militant. We don't have to be defiant. We don't have to be anything. We don't have to be conscious, because we did that. We just voted 92% for a woman that we knew was more qualified than her opponent. We knew she was qualified. We respected the fact that she was Black. We understood her story. We understood what she was fighting for. And more importantly, we understood the condition of this country and where we're going and what this nation has the absolute potential to become, which is shit. We knew that. And so we did what we had to do. So why should I have to sit up here and be like, oh, I'm not going to buy nothing on Black Friday because, you know, the capitalists and this and that. I don't feel, I want some stockings, some tights for 35, 45, 55% off. That's what I want. That's what I need. And so when you ask me what should Black women do, we should do that. We should buy what we want. We should go where we want. We should go on vacation. We should not allow people to call us and make us go to meetings. We don't want to go to Sunday meetings about nothing. We don't want to go. We're tired. And take your rest, my sister, because I have some news for you that I know we don't want to hear right now. Many of us we feel so betrayed that we can't even understand the concept. But know that the next 4 years are going to have moments where we're not going to be able to rest.
What do we say to our children about this time?
You know, you know what? We got to ask the kids what to say to the kids. They got children who are out here who are organizers. I got some young ones that I know they have to keep fighting. I know that their struggle continues. I know they've got to upgrade and they've got to be more unified than before. But in terms of the actual approach, we really have to empower our young people to speak truth to power about what they see as a possibility for themselves. And so while I think I know, and I'm here for advice, I have many mentees. They're all over the country, and they do crazy work. They're in LA, they're in Atlanta, they're in New York, they're in Minneapolis. I've got mentees everywhere, and they do incredible work. But the one thing I know is that my job at this point in my life is to present guardrails. And so I just dropped in there like, hey, just want to let you know that HR 9495 is a new law that was recently passed by one branch of the government. It's got to go to the Senate. It will more than likely make it because the Senate, for once Donald Trump is elected, will be majority Republican, and they will support this bill. That it is a bill that can allow the Secretary of Treasury to identify an organization as a terrorist group or supporting terrorists, and then they can take away your C3, C4 status. And so we were fighting like hell for the last 2 weeks to stop it. There were some Democrats that voted for it. It's a whole thing. And so I said, I just want to let you know that what you're talking about is powerful and it's important, but it could potentially be identified or classified as somehow, which, I understand why they wrote me back and said, you out your goddamn on mind. Like, what the hell are you talking about? This is nothing about terrorism. But I, as a person who's been in this for a long time, can see the loophole and how they can find their way to say, oh, this is terrorism. The young people in my group, they can't believe that because there's nothing close to that in reality. But I know how diabolical these clowns can be. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I just want to drop this in here to let you know what this can be classified as. And I'm saying this to say to you today, we're up against a different beast. Mm-hmm. And so I think our job is not so much to tell young people what they should do, but to inform them of the guardrails so that they are able to think through and work around what could potentially be the very thing to impact, prohibit them from being as enthusiastic and as strong and courageous and bold as they could be. But there was old folks that told us, watch out for this, watch out for that. And I think that's what many of us can do. My mama told me a lot of things that I didn't listen to, but today I can live to say that I'm in a place where almost anything she tell me I think is true.
Amen. Amen. Tamika Mallory is our guest. She's got a memoir coming out next year called I Live to Tell the Story. The conversation continues on Cafe Mocha.
Here's your dose of espresso. Strong, hot news now.
This is the espresso. Since the election, people have been dumping their Twitter accounts and signing up for Blue Sky. Roland Martin explains why.
Remember, during this election, Elon Musk literally was force-feeding right-wing content into all of our timelines. He absolutely changed the algorithm to help Donald Trump and Republicans.
And Tuesday, we find out if Diddy really did drug Jamie Foxx, causing him to almost die. His comedy special hits Netflix on the 10th. But last month, he talked a little about his crisis.
When it's almost over, when you see the tunnel, I saw the tunnel, I didn't see the light. It was hot in that tunnel, so I don't know where I'm going. We're going to the right place.
Jamie Foxx will also be on NBC Wednesday night, along with October London and the great Gladys Knight. They're all going to perform on a Motown Christmas hosted by Smokey Robinson. Wednesday, 9 p.m. on NBC and the next day on Peacock. That's the espresso.
This is Cafe Mocha. Radio from a woman's perspective.
This is Cafe Mocha with Emmy Award-winning talk show host Loni Love, hip-hop legend Yo-Yo, and I'm the producer, Angelique. It's been exactly a month since the election. Now that we've had some time to process. Here's the thing, and I've said this before. Black people have always known how to survive. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter. We know how to survive. We know how to take a pig and make... Go ahead and say it.
Bacon?
That too.
That's where we're going.
That too. But we know how to survive. This, I was talking to this young white kid who asked me, what I thought. I was like, there ain't been too many administrations who have been pro-black. They may take our votes, but are they really doing something for us? So how is this any different? I mean, it's just worse. It just feels worse. It's like
there was progress being made. And I do think that there was progress being made and people are fearful. I do think, to be honest, when you look at Obama was very far left. And this is the thing about this country. There are things that we really need to sit down and sort out instead of going extremely right or going extremely left. There are some things that we have to talk about and that we have to be honest about and that we have to find some middle ground. And a lot of people want to sit and talk about, there's only 92% of Black women that voted. That 8% is also important. I think it was 74% of Black men voted for her. That's a huge percent, that 20 some odd percent, 22% that did not vote for her. And they are important too. And if we
have to keep in mind, this is a whole new generation that we're dealing with. I mean, we're dealing with a different type of generation. When we talk about entitlement of America, we're talking about entitlement of a new generation that we're building. And, a lot of veterans, a lot of people who served in the military, they're sick to their stomachs because of what they fought for this country. They're sick to their stomachs.
But it's also, you got to realize, and once you realize it's a caste system that's happening. You have a bunch of billionaires and millionaires, the Elon Musk being over this made up department. And they being best friends. I mean, it really is, the rich eating the poor. And people need to realize that.
This is what I think people need to understand most. This isn't a race war. I don't want to call it a war. This is a class, just like you just said, this is a class war. It's so, those rural, I don't want to call them white, but those rural white Americans who are looking at the big city folks and the people of color and feeling, oh, they think they're better, or oh, blah, whatever they're thinking out there. This is about class. They're not going to do anything for you. They have never done anything for you. And so why do you think something's going to start now? Well, I remember piece of history. I grew up in North Carolina, and we didn't learn this in school. But back in the day, the poor Black people, the poor white people got together. They created, a community, a city of interracial, politicians. So the sheriff is Black and the people on the board or whatever are Black and they're white. And of course, the powers that be, the rich white people came in and burned all that mess down, brought in the National Guard, killed up a whole bunch of people, because that is what the rich establishment does not want. They don't want us realizing that we are more alike than we are different.
Want a little more of our flavor? Stay right there. It's Cafe Mocha.
This is Cafe Mocha with Emmy Award-winning talk show host Loni Love, hip-hop legend Yo-Yo, and I'm the producer, Angelique. It's been exactly a month since the election. Now that we've had some time to process.
And there are a lot of people who are out here that were Democrats who did vote Republican and said, hey, listen, more kids today are on welfare and getting food stamps than ever in life. And they're starting to rely on it and being lazy and being entitled to a system that wasn't afforded to us. I mean, but I grew up in the 70s. It was just something you didn't want to do. You wanted to get out there and make it a hard-earned living, but because of all of the things that are taking place in America, and with the health situation, the pandemic, you have all of that stuff going on. But then seeing these illegal immigrants coming in, getting more than, so it's making people feel like they're entitled to it because we're Americans, okay? And they're making this race war of nationalities. It's just a crazy conversation if you ever sat down and sat quiet and listened to how people really feel, because there's a couple of my friends that said they voted Harris, and I'm kind of like, did you vote for Trump?
No, but that's what we're saying. It's like those are conversations that should be had instead of these. And the media has a lot to do with this. The media has a lot of play into this. Instead of everybody want to sit there and give their opinion and pick a side, they need to report on what's happening, report on the immigration and what's happening, report on the fact that, the rich are not paying certain taxes. They're not reporting on this stuff. They're just telling you, oh, if you're listening to Fox News, well, you know who they're for. If you're listening to MSNBC, you know who they're for. But we're not sitting here reporting and saying, let's talk about the real issues that's happening in this country and let's discuss it and let's try to make a solution. Let's try to find some equal ground. And the one thing that I do at my shows, Yo-Yo, is, my shows are always mixed. It's mixed with Black, with white, with Latino, usually one Asian. And, and I tell them, look around. We all laughing. At the end of the show, I said, look around and realize that we are all one. And we can live together. We just got to understand each other. And until that happens, but this is not going to happen with this guy. Not in this office. And you can see who he's picking right now. If you don't have $1 million, $100 million, forget about it. And that's not right. It's not right at all. And he finally picked one Black person.
I was getting ready to say, them sellouts has been kissing his butt for the past, I don't know how long. Ain't neither one of them.
But the fear of it, if all of that, we can say, oh, it's wrong, we don't like it. But America is a democracy built on capitalism. I get that. But when you're talking about tariffs, when you're talking about erasing certain rights, you're going to affect the economy in a negative way. If you're talking about pulling out migrants, if you're talking about pulling out transgenders from the military service, that's 15,000 people.
Oh, really?
Who? How are you going to replace those people? And is it fair that they're now jobless and they're fighting for a country that really doesn't love them back?
That's the show. Make sure you go to Mocha Podcast Network to hear the full conversation with Tamika Mallory. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Just go to @Cafe Mocha Radio. Cafe Mocha is a production of Miles Ahead Broadcasting in partnership with Super Radio. Executive producer Sheila Eldridge. For comments, booking, or more information, visit cafemocharadio.com.